What is up, everybody? Star Wars Dad back for another video. Today we're going to be looking at Krennic and kind of our three-part series of these soft control decks and which deck I think is the best. So as you can tell, this list looks very similar to the last two lists that I played. It did not look that way in the testing today in the videos. I didn't have Snoke in there, and I had 3 Gideon. I had no Rukh in there. I was just trying things out a little differently to fit more of Krennic's ability, because Gideon's ability with the experience tokens is really nice. And Snoke, you know, at first I actually had 3 Vaders and 3 Mauls and no Snoke at all. And throughout the videos I don't have Snoke in there. But so kind of my conclusion afterwards is the biggest card that makes the most difference for Krennic as a leader is Death Trooper, just because of its ability to ambush in and do 6 damage to any unit at any time, and that works really well with ECL as well as timely intervention. It's just like a really good piece of removal. I was missing Rukh in some of the games as a alternative form to remove things, as a kill spell that can be shielded afterwards or before, so that it stays alive. Rukh is just very, very good right now in the meta. I encourage you all to try Rukh out in these types of decks if you haven't, especially with ECL and if you're playing timely as well. I really have liked having the 2 timely in addition to ECL because it gives me flexibility, especially because you can smuggle it later in the game, to just come in out of nowhere with a unit that's in my hand and make an impactful play that swings the board state in my favor. Another thing that I really like about it, obviously for the sideboard, is to do it with a Devastator, just to kill 2 things and overwhelm damage. But yes, I mean, you'll kind of see in the list I had Black Star Sunfighter in there, the 3rd Gideon in there, I think, and I took those out. I just didn't, I mean, the Sunfighter, I think I resourced it almost every game. I just never felt like I needed it. Consortium always just did enough for what I needed it for, which is like subtle life gain occasionally to ambush in to kill a thing before they can wing leader it. I did listen to your feedback, and I tried to find as many Sabine and Boba Yellow matchups as I could for, you know, the 4 or 5 games that I typically play. I played a couple other games against randoms, but I played, I think it was against 2 Sabine and 1 Boba Yellow, just to kind of show you how that matchup goes typically. But as far as the list, there is not a lot of changes to the general list that I've been playing with these soft control decks. Everything is about the same except for the Death Trooper. The biggest difference is that there's no Super Laser Blast in here. Because you're a little more unit focused in Krennic, and you want to be because of its ability. I felt like I don't really need Super Laser Blast. Because of timely and because of the removal I have, and the, you know, it didn't feel like a card that I needed. So Snoke kind of serves as a pseudo Laser Blast. Barrage and Snoke, or Barrage on Avenger, or Barrage on Maul, or even Vader, is just so obliterating to a board that Laser Blast is one of those cards I'm going to bring in for certain matchups, absolutely, but you know, most of the time I don't want to see that card. I usually just resource it because I don't want to kill my own board state. There's very rarely does my opponent get to a place where they're like swarming the board and I have no answer. So we're playing the 2 timely. Like I said, it just feels really nice to have that additional timely. I love being able to smuggle it. That's my favorite part about it. Early in the game, using it on a Death Trooper is amazing to take out like Sabine or most leaders at 6 HP, just to come in there with a Death Trooper and not have to use the ECL. But ECLing a Death Trooper is amazing as well in here, because so the way that works is when you ambush in, you do 2 damage to yourself, to your own Death Trooper, which makes it have 4 power, and then you're doing 2 damage to another unit. So when you ambush in, you're attacking for 4 more, and you could do up to 6 damage, or you could kill 2 things, which also is sweet. So Death Trooper is very, very good in here. This is its home. I've been saying how much I love that card, and it just never felt right, but in here it feels very, very good. 2 Inferno 4, that feels right. Again, I don't played a bunch of games with these soft control decks now. It's nice to get the Inferno down on turn 1, but most games, the main thing we're doing with Inferno is digging for cards later in the game. If I get it later in the game, I'm just looking for Avengers and Snokes and Mauls and Vaders. So 3 Pyke is nice. So again, Pyke is just to slow things down early on, especially against the super aggro decks. The other cool thing about Pyke in here is if it is able to survive, like if I attack into a Spec Force soldier, for example, it becomes a 3-powered Sentinel, so it gets a little stronger. So that's really nice about it in here. 3 power the dark side, of course. The 2 make an opening, 1 in the sideboard, of course, for subtle life gain and for the Phantom. 3 Consortium, again, because of the Timeless and the ECLs. And again, it's just I can't find a better space unit. The Sunfighter has felt okay, but just having the ability to ECL in Consortium at any time with the Timely or with the ECL, it's just been really nice. And that 2 life does go a long way. So I don't think I would ever want to take it out of these soft control decks, because it is just an early way to deal with space threats, especially decks that go more space heavy, but also just a way to slow things down until I can get to my big stuff that takes over the game. I did drop 1 resupply in this list. I didn't feel like I needed to ramp as much. I also just feel like you're going to be playing against so much aggro with Boba Yellow, Sabine, and Boba Green that, you know, using laser tech is going to be your preferable choice. You're not going to be resupplying that much unless you're playing against like a ramp deck or control deck. So it felt fine throughout all these games of testing. The 3 Death Trooper that I spoke about is very, very awesome in this deck. The 3 Client, again, Client is just extremely necessary in this deck, especially with how much power aggro has gotten with the Poe and the Wrecker. They already had a lot of power, so Client is necessary because, again, it's a card, if they don't deal with it, I can kind of snipe the board and have 10 health life swings where I use a Vigilance as the game goes on, target one of their units, and then gain 5 life with Vigilance and gain 5 life with Client, have a 10 health swing, which is huge in those matchups to get me back to around 10 or less HP so that I'm not in range of dying. So Client is just amazing. They have to find a way to deal with it, or it will become a problem for them as the game goes on. Typically you resource it early, and then by like 4, 5, 6 resources you're thinking about playing it, depending on where your life total's at. Sometimes it's nice to play it on turn 2, but a lot of times you're just trying to play removal or sentinels on those turns. But it is a card I typically hold on to if I don't have like a Vigilance in my hand. And then as the game goes on, it just becomes very, very hard to deal with. Phase Dark Trooper gets better in here as well because of Krennic. So a Phase Dark Trooper that ambushes in, for example, into a Sabine, either the leader or the, but let's say it ambushes into the 2 resource Sabine, right? So it kills that because it only has 2 power when it's sitting there. Then it gets gets a counter because of its ability, and then Krennic makes it a 5-powered Sentinel, and that's as early as turn 2. So that is very strong. So Death Trooper and Dark Trooper get very, very good with Krennic. Laser Tech is just, a staple in here with ECL, with Timely. It's nice when you can get more out of its ability and kill things, but that's, you just have to wait for those opportunities. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Against a lot of these aggro decks, like I said, you're not doing that unless the opportunity presents itself. A lot of times you're saving your ECL for the Sentinel play or for the Death Trooper play because they are so strong so early. But occasionally you might laser tech, but most of the time you're not. You're also saving it for Gideon as a way to take out Sabine immediately, and you're saving it for Rukh now that Rukh is back in the list. In the main board, at least. It was in the sideboard in the testing games. 2 Vigilance in the main, 1 in the side. Again, same thing as the other 2 decks, the Iden Green list and the Qi'ra Green list, that you're bringing in Vigilance and make an opening for the aggro matchups. I will say real quick, the Iden list, the one that I had posted in the video, I made another version, and I'll show it here on the screen real quick, that's more just like Darth Maul, and that one felt very good too. It didn't feel too much difference. The biggest difference that I got from it was just that I missed Vader a little bit because sometimes Vader can find me client in that deck, so I just missed the ability for Vader to do that, or even find a Sentinel sometimes. So I think I like the original version of Iden that I had put in the video with the 2-2 split, and that's why we have that split here in this deck as well. Next, we just have the 2 takedown again. It's felt good throughout testing. 2 Gideon and the 2 Rukh. I've talked about these a lot, but the Gideon is good in certain situations. It's good at taking out Sabine. It's good in Krennic, of course, because once it gets damaged, it becomes a 7-powered unit once you put an experience token on it. Also, you can just kind of like get in with a barrage. Is just absolutely amazing. You can kill 2, 3, 4 units and just gain 2, 3, 4 experience tokens on your units on the board, and it's just a really strong unit that can close out the game really fast in here. I was playing 3 throughout the video, but a lot of times it did feel like I needed a Rukh in there for certain situations where I could just kill one of their threats and then not have to use a piece of my removal, and Rukh would still survive. So that, I think that 2-2 split again, it feels good. I don't know how else to say it. I think you have enough answers in here to deal with the threats that come about, that the 2-2 split's not going to hurt you. 3 barrage, of course. The 2 rivals fall, of course. And then the 2 Vader, 2 Maul. And I'll talk about it a little bit more, but basically, certain situations, Vader is better because you're finding your Sentinels, especially in here. You're finding Pyke, Phased Arc Trooper. You're also finding Death Trooper, which is very, very good in here with Krennic because, we talked about why Death Trooper is good, but with Vader, it's also good because you can damage the Vader, then make the Vader have 6 power, and then do 2 more damage with the Death Trooper to your opponent. So you can swing in with Vader for 8 damage, so essentially, which is very, very good. So in here, I think it is even better and more necessary to have the Vader. You could argue that, you could put the 3rd Vader in here. But then again, Maul is very, very good in certain situations as well. Maul, because you're a mid-range deck that is slightly more aggressive because of Krennic's ability, Maul is a really good card to find to help you close the game out. It's a removal / game closer. So Maul is just really, really sweet. I would miss Maul terribly if it wasn't in here. I love having it. I love being able to just come in and do 7 damage to anything on the ground. And Snoke. So we get to Snoke. I was missing Snoke throughout all the games of testing today. I did want to just try to be lower to the ground because I felt like Krennic is a little more aggressive. But what I found is that Snoke was a card that when I get around the 8 resources, I was missing it because it just really changes the momentum of the game for my opponent, especially against aggro decks. They have to find an answer. Obviously, yellow has Waylay, but that's not an answer that I think is that bad for us. I think that's just more of like, well, okay, we'll play it next turn, or we'll play Avenger. So, Snoke just kind of shuts everything down, and it's just so good with Barrage that since I've tasted what Barrage feels like on a Snoke, after the board is like completely weakened, and then you just barrage everything and do 8 damage to a weakened board, it's just so good. I don't ever want to play these soft control decks without Snoke anymore. And then 2 Avenger. Avenger just continues to be ridiculously good. You'll see it throughout some of these videos. Like Avenger, just once I get the Avenger down in certain matchups, like there's nothing they can do. And especially with the removal with the other cards that are paired in this deck, an Avenger with a Barrage is just insane to do 10 damage to your opponent's board. Just an amazing closer. Love that card. The sideboard is going to be looking very similar to the other lists. I think the biggest difference is that I have the Laser Blast in the sideboard for more of those mid-range and control matchups, and I don't have the 3rd copies of Rivals Fall, so that may change. around a little bit. But again, the sideboard is just a rough draft right now. Like, you know, the meta is just starting to develop from all the set 2 cards. So it's really just like your best guesstimate right now for a sideboard. As far as where this deck feels feels really strong, I think if I were to rank all 3 of the decks, like the Iden Green, the Qi'ra Green, and the Krennic Green, I would say Iden Green is like, how would I say it? I would say it's 1A. It would be my preference. I would say Qi'ra Green is 1B. I think Qi'ra has similar problems to what Krennic has, in that sometimes the aggro decks can really just run you over if you don't find the correct pieces, and if they get the right cards. Like, it's really hard to recover. Whereas Iden, I think, has a better chances to recover just because of its ability. Iden, the leader, also, I find that Qi'ra is easily killed. Not as easy as Krennic, but pretty easy. And then I find that Krennic is just kind of like, the leader itself is kind of just like meh. I like its ability a lot, but both of those leaders are easily killed, whereas Iden can, you know, with its shield, it's a little harder. And then, you know, it's still doing the same kind of damage with barrage. It does come out a turn later, but I don't think that makes too much of a difference. So Qi'ra, I think, is a little more impactful on its flip turn because of its ability and what it does. And, you know, the damaging the board and healing all of your stuff and then damaging everything by half is really cool. It sets up a really nice barrage turn. It also just can come in and do 4 damage to something and take something out. I just think it's a little more of an impactful flip turn, whereas Krennic it's okay, but it never feels like the game is fully in my favor when I flip Krennic. You know what I mean? Like, when I flip Iden and I have those removal spells, or I have that, you know, the sentinels on the ground, and I'm able to kind of get things under control, or that barrage, it just feels like, okay, the game's starting to turn in my favor. And I don't even, sometimes in Iden, I don't feel like I need to flip it as early because of the subtle life gain. So I don't know. That's from the testing I've done in the last few days, probably last week or so, with these 3 decks. Again, other people may disagree with me, but you know, you're welcome to disagree. But with the way I'm playing these decks, and the way that feels comfortable for my playstyle, and, you know, and clearly these lists are very similar. Like I said, I did try out different cards in all 3 of them to try to get to a place where I thought certain cards would be helpful, but I did get to a very similar list with all 3, and I feel very good about these lists. Which one would I take to a tournament? Probably Iden Green. Of the 3, I just think Iden's just a really, really good leader. But as always, please like and subscribe. Make sure to comment on the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. I think we're at like 1,850 subscribers now, so we're really close to 2,000. Make sure you go on to the community page and comment the decks that you are most excited to play, to have a chance at being one of the 4 winners that gets to take home one of those cards, as well as some other cards that you might need that I have. But as always, let's get into some games. Do you like to know? No. Alright, so we're getting rid of Maul and Laser Tech here, I think. Everything else is useful early. Play Pyke. Okay, claim the initiative. Vigilance and takedown. just gonna put it on Pyke and there, because Pyke's probably gonna die anyways. Alright. We have a takedown for Sabine. Honestly, we're probably... Okay, double takedowns is good. I mean, Vader's good, but it's a little ways off. I mean, because we're probably going to take down Gideon into Vigilance. So maybe we don't need to take the second takedown, okay. Yeah, I don't want to take the 3, so we're just going to get rid of that. If he wants to ECL in a K2SO or whatever, that's fine. We'll take our damage. Yep, I didn't call that, did I? It's weird. Okay, so we will... yeah, I do like the Death Trooper though, but Rival's Fall is more important at this point. We have a timely now. Alright, so we're just gonna ECL in. I really don't want to deal with K2SO. So we're gonna have to kill that first. Oh, okay, we're putting a counter, okay. I was like, what's going on? Yeah, he did the damage, that's cool. We're flipping Krennic. We both use ECL now. We do have a couple timeless in our deck though. Ouch. Of course the Wing Leader comes. Wing Leader is the card that honestly is the hardest card to deal with when you're playing against Sabine. But we're just gonna see what he does here. Because Gideon can take him out right now. So... we also have Rival's Fall. We also have Vigilance. I really don't want to take 4 more for some Sabine because they claim the initiative. That puts us in range to die, so I'd rather just kill him with Gideon. Yeah. Okay. So, what are we getting rid of here? I think it's Death Trooper. So we were killing him with Gideon first. Unfortunately. Then we're attacking with Krennic into Sabine. And then we'll see what we're doing after that. Okay. A barrage would have been the ideal card in that situation. Okay. At this point, Krennic has 8. He could have timely. But I think what we want to do is just gain our life over here on the Wing Leader. Get herself in a livable space. Timely Poe is like the worst card he could have. Okay, that's not the worst thing ever. Okay, don't need resupply. We have Vader. Vader's good. Okay, client's good. Kill that. Not sure why anyone's still playing Steadfast Battalion and Sabine. They should be playing Poe at that spot, but maybe they're just testing the cards that they have in real life, which I totally understand. Timely intervention. K2SO. Hey. And survey says he's what? Okay. What did he kill? Vader? Okay. Alright, we gain 2 life back. Alright, now we're in a pretty good spot because we can use client to just kind of take over the game for us. And then we're just looking for like Vader, Maul. I don't think we need the second client. Okay, well that's a card, so we're just gonna have to kill it right away without activating client's ability because it came in ready. Okay. 14 attack and pass. Alright, Gideon is solid here actually. Barrage is solid here. We could play Timely plus Gideon plus Sunfighter. Also could play Barrage plus Sunfighter. So we're just gonna pass. Okay. Big game, yeah. We kind of got to a place where we were taking over, and client again is the MVP against the aggro matchups because, like I said, it puts him in a situation where any turn where it makes sense for us, we're just going to use our removal spells and use the bounty on client, gain 5 life, gain a little bit of life with Krennic. Gideon was really nice there because then we can just keep pumping Krennic up to keep it alive longer, and using Gideon. Barrage is obviously a really good hit right there. So yeah, I mean that matchup, it's going to be tough. I mean, Sabine's one of the best decks in the format. But as far as Krennic goes, like, it's very similar to Qi'ra in the fact that client is extremely important in that matchup. Krennic, the leader, usually doesn't survive that long in these matchups. They have a lot of ways to kill it. It's not like, you know, incredibly hard to kill by any means with Sabine. And Gideon is really helpful though, because once we have those barrage turns with Gideon, we can really just kind of take over the game. Just, I mean, you can kill 2, 3, 4 units even sometimes with a barrage on a Gideon, and that's 4 experience points, 3 experience points that you're putting on your units. So you're either pumping up Gideon or pumping up Krennic to make it even harder to kill. So, all right, up against Boba Yellow here. I'd like to mulligan. No. Miss is solid. Do we want laser tech? I kind of do. I kind of want Maul too. I think Maul's going to be pretty important in a matchup like this. But I mean, it's either go big or just play conservative with 2 space units. I mean, if we keep the laser tech, we need to keep the Maul. I don't know, that just seems, I mean, Boba, we also have a barrage and a vigilance. All right, we're gonna try. We're gonna try to make it happen. Okay, that's actually a perfect card. So he sees that we're gonna laser tech now, which is totally fine. I'm gonna play the Inferno, and for good reason. I don't want to take the damage, and I want to ramp. Ramp is definitely... Okay, he takes Gideon or Barrage? Probably Barrage, okay. Sure, take the Death Trooper all day. Okay. I don't need 2 Dark Troopers, I mean. Let's put Krennic out there first. Okay. Okay. The Greedo has to trade with Dark Trooper. Sure. We'll go ahead and take this out. Cool. We can do... Do we want Pyke? Not really. We could take 4 from 4 LOM here. Zuckuss is the card we least want to see. Okay. Because they did that, we're going to play Client first. And then whatever they play, we're going to play Power of the Dark Side on it. Hopefully it's Boba. Okay, well that's a Boba, something. Hopefully they don't have Boba Fett's armor, I guess, because then Maul can just kill it. We shall see. Okay, it does not appear that they do, but they are probably going to play... They're going to discard a card from... Okay, what did they discard? Gideon? And they waylaid that, okay. Sure. Not a problem. We'll let Pyke go. Ambush him with Maul. Get Boba out of the game. Okay. Playing the initiative. Now we need to find a removal spell for Fett's Fire Spray. Okay, Barrage will do it. I don't think we need Consortium at this point. We're just gonna play Barrage / Client here. And just do all 10 damage to the Fett's Fire Spray. Maul's get in for 10. Sure. Play another Client. Okay, they played something cheap, that's good. So we can gain 10 life next turn. Oh, goodness gracious. Goodness gracious. My goodness. I don't think we need Gideon. Not right now. Have to have another waylay. Yep. Avenger will do that to people. It will do that to people. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, Avenger continues to be the best card in this deck. I mean, Client was good. It served its purpose. Like, it came in there, they had to find a way to deal with it. They had to use Cunning to waylay it. That's not ideally how you want to use Cunning. And at this point, you know, we're just using Avenger to kill whatever they play, and then we're using Client if, you know, we're going to draw into more removal. We also have Maul and Vader waiting in the wings to deal with anything on the ground if he goes wide again. So, good game. Alright, up against Sabine. No mulligan, we're going to get rid of, I guess, Vigilant, or not Vigilance, Rival's Fault, Starfighter, I think. We're most likely just going ground sentinel or power the dark side. I really don't want to get rid of vigilance, it's too important in this matchup. Since we're going first, we get to play Pyke and then claim the initiative, so we can kind of base our next move based on what they do on turn 1. If they go green A-wing, or if they go cheap unit on the ground or whatever. See what they do. Okay. Sabine. I kind of like the idea of ECLing in the Dark Trooper here. Man, Avenger is really good, but it is so expensive in this matchup. Yeah, we're just going to ECL in the Dark Trooper here, so we can have 2 ground sentinels. And then Face Dark Trooper will hit for 5, which is nice when the next thing attacks into it. So in that way, Krennic is sweet because it makes this card much better. It also makes Death Trooper amazing. Like, there's cool things about Krennic for sure. Like, those interactions are really cool. However, Krennic the leader is just very meh, in my opinion. I mean, it's nice when you get Gideon out there, but Gideon always gets killed right away. And yeah, we're just gonna claim the initiative. We're not worried about damage right now. We just want to kill that thing before he plays like a wing leader on it. And at this point, Face Dark Trooper is going to trade favorably with Sabine, so he's going to have to ECL in to take that out. If we draw into a Death Trooper, then we can trade favorably with Sabine after they kill our Dark Trooper. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I think Krennic's good. Okay, there's a card. So we're gonna kill this Vec Force soldier with Pyke first, so that they can't use that to kill the Dark Trooper, unfortunately, which hopefully they don't have Wing Leader next turn. We are waiting on our opponent to pass here. Wing Leader is the card that would be the worst card for us, because we don't have an answer in space right now. Okay. Guess our opponent didn't like what he had. But yeah, so our, claim the initiative. Don't know what we're gonna draw, obviously. Death Trooper would have been really nice here. Another Face Dark Trooper would have been really nice. One of those two. Client would be solid. Takedown would be good. So basically we're gonna attack into the Spec Force Soldier with the Pyke, so that it stays alive. It now does 3 damage. Also is another cool thing that Pyke will be able to do because of Krennic. Then they're probably going to ambush in. They're going to have to ambush in to deal with Dark Trooper. If they don't, then Dark Trooper will just trade with Sabine. In which case, we can then use our power of the dark side on the green A-wing, potentially. A lot of different things, but I get why our opponent stepped out of that one. It wasn't looking good. But, that's, Pyke. I've gone back and forth between, like, Pyke, Viper Probe Droid, and the Gamorrean, whatever it was called, the 3-2 that turns into a Sentinel when you have a green unit. I like Pyke because it's always a Sentinel, and I like it because, at the very least, it's just slowing them down early against aggro. It's nice to squeeze in on a lot of turns, where 2 resources is all we have left, and then also it becomes a 3-powered Sentinel if it gets damaged a little bit, like in this case with the Spec Force Soldier. So, playing again Thrawn green here, so we'll see if it's the ramp version or if it's the more lower to the ground version. Either way, I think this matchup's going to be pretty tough. No, I like that we have laser tech as a way to ramp early. Let's get rid of the Starfighter and Rival's Fall is going to be really important in this matchup. Dark Trooper? That feels wrong. Something about that feels wrong. Takedown's good in this matchup too. We have to decide if we just want to ramp quicker or if we want to just play more conservative. I think we're just going to play more conservative and just hope that we find an opportunity to ramp with either like a resupply or another laser tech at some point, but okay, yeah. Could get a Death Trooper here, would be really nice. That's a card that would be good. Make an opening would be good. Power of the Dark Side would be good. Really anything where we don't have to use our Death Trooper right away. But we'll see. Okay, Power of the Dark Side is good. Second Rivals Fall. I'm gonna let Takedown go, I think. Am I? I might just let this go. I really just want a bunch of removal in this matchup until we get to our bigger stuff. So, yeah. There you go. There's a resupply. Okay. Death Trooper's not the worst, but Maul is really good. Death Trooper can come in and kill Han immediately with ambush, which isn't bad. Especially on this turn. I like Consortium as subtle life gain and as an answer to anything in space. I mean, they could have Marauder though, which would just kill Consortium. So we're either playing Takedown here or Death Trooper on this turn. We're just gonna pass to them and let them decide what they want to lose. Okay, so we'll just do this. Okay. Death Trooper is awesome in this deck. Okay, he claimed the initiative. That's interesting. Not what I was expecting there. We have Krennic / Death Trooper. They could, at 6 resources, what could they do? They could play Poe. Poe / Wrecker here. Both are bad for us in this situation. Both Krennic dies to either one. Well, if we put Pyke out, it doesn't. I think we're gonna put Pyke out as a blocker. He has the initiative though, so. Okay, he's playing that. Okay, that makes our decision a little bit easier, I think. Because now we're at a place where we can just Rivals Fall next turn. Krennic can kill that though too, so let's just play Pyke. He still hasn't used his ECL, okay. Problem is Krennic can't kill our boy yet. Okay. Barrage is good. A lot of good cards in our hand. I think we can let Takedown go now. They could play Reinforcement Walker here. Rivals Fall is going to be the card that we want to use for that. Looks like that's what they're doing, from what I can tell. No. Modded Cohort, okay. We're just going to use this first. Kill his Sundari. Okay, cool. We shall claim the initiative. He played double Spark of Hope that turn? That's pretty crazy. So he's just looking for like recruit now. This is the card he wants to find. So he can get the Krayt Dragon. We have an answer for it. We have 2 Rivals Fall. We do not need this. So Gideon's solid here. I mean, if he gets the Krayt Dragon, let's get Gideon down first. I think that's a smart idea. In case he doesn't get that. Okay. So what did he just do? He timely a Krayt Dragon? Okay. Interesting. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Isn't it nice when you get a timely and a Krayt Dragon in the same turn? Okay, we can Barrage Consortium here. Yeah, sure. Sure. There's the ECL. Okay, we're just claiming the initiative. At this point, we're looking for Avenger. Avenger's going to be the card that is too hard for our opponent to deal with. We're just going to put that in the resources. I think we have 2 in there, right? Just 1, okay. Let's see, we're at 9, so we can play Rivals Fall and a Consortium. If he plays another Krayt Dragon, we just have to claim the initiative. We can't allow it to attack us for 10. I mean, that's pretty bad too. So we could take 6 from it, I think. It's fine. Okay, there's the Avenger that we've been looking for. So we will immediately just play that. And that should put us in a pretty good shape. If they play a second unit here, that's when it becomes somewhat of a problem. So if we take the 6, okay. Cool. There's Avenger. Okay, we're definitely just claiming the initiative here. We want to gain life with Consortium, and we want to use Avenger Barrage to kill everything on their board. Yep. Wow. The crazy part is we have enough to just kill everything, which is nuts. So Barrage plus... Barrage will just do 7, 8, 10, literally. Okay, wow. Choose a card to resource. I don't think we're resourcing anything. All of them are going to die. It should tell me them in order, correct? To modded cohort. Which modded cohort is this? Why does it not tell me which one it is? I think it's the first. Nope. It just does this every time. I don't know why it doesn't tell you which one. Okay, modded cohort 2, Gunslinger 1, 4, and 3. Goodness gracious. Marauder comes in for 4. Is he doing it? Yes, he's doing it. Okay. Okay, he plays a unit, most likely here. Okay. I think we can let takedown go at this point, just so we have vigilance plus Gideon as an option. Or Rivals Fall plus Gideon. Yeah. So any unit he plays first is just immediately going to die, which stinks for him. He didn't do anything, which is crazy. So we will just play Darth Maul. No. And then we will gain a little bit of life and pass. So I think we have turned the corner, killed 2 Krayt Dragons now. We have another Rivals Fall if somehow they have an answer for our Avenger, which I just am not seeing it here. We don't need Pyke at this point. You could have Timely plus Wrecker, I guess. Yeah. Cool. And good game. Yeah, so I mean, just had to play strategic defense there. You know, Krennic the leader, it's just, how do I describe Krennic? When I play Krennic, I just want it to be Iden. You know, just that subtle life gain. So, Krennic the leader just doesn't do it for me. I like its ability to a certain extent. Alright, playing against Cad Bane, so this is going to be interesting. So we get rid of 1 laser tech, and I think make an opening is going to be potentially good here if they have a Phantom. So I don't want to get rid of that. Which means, I mean, laser tech, I can choose to kill it anytime they play an underworld unit if they use the ability, so that seems pretty good. We're just gonna let the client go early? I think so. The rest of these are all pretty decent. Okay. Alrighty. Well, that's a card. I like playing against this card most of the time. Especially in this situation where we get to kill it and then play something else, which is sweet. I love playing against that card, man. It just, like, already I have an advantage. I just think it's not a good card. Oh, I think the payoff is just really bad. Like, the payoff for killing it is just really bad. I just would like to play against it constantly. Alright, we don't need 2 Gideons, I don't think. Make an opening. Doesn't do enough here. Unless they play like a Phantom or something. We are going to be able to flip Krennic this turn. Okay. Well, that's a good card to have, for sure. For sure. Because I get to play a free 3-drop. Which is nice. But now we can play Inferno plus make an opening. Okay, another Evazan for real? That's interesting. Okay. Flip Krennic, see what they do. Okay, sure. Gonna take the shield off Evazan. This is crazy what we're about to do. We're just using Evazan to just win the game. Okay, McClunky, sure. Okay, that was smart. What he did there, that was smart. Gets to play a 3-drop for free. Kills the Krennic, that was good. Another Evazan? Are you kidding me right now? Oh, cause he McClunky. Okay. All right. So we're just going to ambush in, kill this, put a counter there, and then we're gonna kill Evazan. Unless he has another McClunky. Get rid of Inferno here. He's got to have another McClunky. Okay. So we use Barrage, take off the shield. Well, first, we go face, actually. We go face, because he's gonna take off her shield anyways. Okay, interesting. Interesting. Okay, so now we have another unit to put down if he tries to do underworld stuff. Making opening's not doing a lot for us here unless he has the Phantom. Wow, another Evazan. Okay. Alright. What is this? Okay. I don't know what just happened. Sure. So we will just barrage here and do some things. Do 3. Sure. And then we will play this on that, and we'll pass. How many Evazans have we dealt with now? All 3 of them? Yeah. They do have Cad Bane this turn. What we're probably looking for is Death Trooper so that we can do a significant amount of damage onto Cad Bane. Yep. Or Sentinel. Sentinel's pretty good too, because then he takes 2 from it. Doesn't kill him automatically, but he can't get past it, so that's pretty good. Yeah. Well, doesn't Death Trooper let us do the thing first? Yes, it does. Yes, so then we can kill Cad Bane that way. Okay, so it is Death Trooper. That's the right play. Okay. Nice. Gotta love that combo. Moral of the story, don't play Dr. Evazan. Alright, we're just gonna clear that issue and use Barrage here. Just gonna clean up, gain some life. Avenger's really good for next turn. We're just gonna Barrage. 6. Okay. 2 6/6s and Death Trooper. Okay. Boom. And I think this is probably the end of the game. I'm not sure what our opponent just did there. He's just passing because he's sad. I don't know. Okay. Alright, good game. Guess he just gave up. But yeah, I mean, the moral of that story is this card right here is just not a card you want. I mean, if you have this card in your deck, you have to have a very good plan to protect it from dying. Every time I've played against this card, it has just helped me win the game so much faster. So back for the post-game wrap-up. So overall, this deck went 5-2, which is ironic because that is the exact same record that it had the last video I did on Krennic Green. But yeah, I mean, kind of what I talked about in the intro is like, I do feel like Iden Green is just a little bit better, and I think Qi'ra Green is a little bit behind Iden Green, and then I would say it's a little bit better than Krennic Green. I think Krennic is cool, but the leader itself, when it flips, it's not doing it for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a really impactful leader that... Yeah, Krennic though is really not one of those leaders that like gets me excited, or you feel like a really strong shift in the game's momentum when it flips. Whereas Qi'ra can do that because of its abilities, or especially if you get the overwhelming barrage off on that turn. You know, Iden, like I said, just because it comes in shielded, and then when you start killing things, you know, especially like if you flip Iden and have an overwhelming barrage and you kill 2 or 3 units, you're gaining 2 or 3 life, and you know, Iden's shielded. Like, it's just, you feel the impact of the game shift on that kind of flip, whereas Krennic, it's not so much. I mean, your best bet is to ambush out a Gideon, get an experience on Krennic, so that's swinging in for 3, and it's a 3/8, and obviously that's nice when that happens. The other card that people play is Steadfast Battalion at the 5-drop spot, but I just don't think Steadfast is the card I want there. I think it's good in certain situations. Obviously, it can kill Boba, but Gideon just does such a good job of like closing the game out, and then also Gideon can easily have 7 power. Rukh is just amazing against so many of these powerful units, and I just don't think Steadfast is the card that I'd want in that position. Plus, you have to have Krennic out there for Steadfast to get its full value, and Krennic, like I said, is easy to kill, so I don't know. Steadfast just didn't feel like the card I want there. But yeah, overall it's a fun deck to play. I think it's, you know, very strong. Definitely any feedback or any cards that you think that I might consider, or maybe you would play in this Krennic deck, feel free to let me know. But as always, y'all have a good one, and peace out.